estimates, and then every time an element comes in, so this is a pulsar function. It just implements the function class, which is the Java class. It takes in a string, will spit out a long when you ask for it. The element comes in, you just do an add, you just make one call, you can calculate the new estimated count, and you return that count. That's it. So you can very quickly do something like cybering, like 6 lines of code. You can test it, unit test it with your traditional JUnit test, and then you can deploy it on the edge and know what actually functions just as you expect. A similar one, or like the second cousin of this one, is the K frequency, or the heavy hitters, the top K sort of one. So you can leverage that count min algorithm to create a list of those things, of the top K, the top 10 tweets of the day, what's trending right now. This is how they do it. So you can do the count min sketch algorithm again. The only variation is that you keep an additional list of length K. However, you decide up front that keeps the top ones in there as well. So you do the max on that as well. So again, it looks something like this. It's very similar. You have the exact same algorithm. You know, again, the element comes in. You run your K hashes on it. You do the plussing. But then when you're done, you can also take your highest value that you computed of these values. So 282, 680, 312, et cetera, and you compare that to the top K. And if it's higher, he goes in the list, everybody else goes out. So every time you have an element in there, you also update your list of what the top K is. So it's just a slight variation on that, but you can also do that as well, the exact same. And the configuration is almost exactly the same. So again, it's 6 lines of code, very simple. Leveraging the existing library, you just initialize it as big as you want. You make a call, you add the element to the sketch, and you can grab the updated top K, do whatever you want with it. Third use case, a little bit more interesting for IoT, is anomaly detection, right? So most anomaly detectors can use a manually configured threshold value that's not adaptive to simple patterns or anything like that. With these quantiles, you can use it. You can create adaptive code or adaptive ones. So rather than set a static threshold for an alert like 98 degrees on a temperature, or pressure of 55 degrees or 55 psi, whatever, you can sort of have it learn first. So instead of using a simple static value, you have quantiles. And in statistics and probability, you know, there's the normal distribution and things in the 99th percentile are considered to be anomalous, right? Most of the data you come in the element is going to be distributed in some way. The 99th percentile is usually what those things that are anomalous, or the first percentile, depending on how you're looking at things. There's a very small data structure called T-Digest that was developed by Ted Dunning as a way to accurately estimate extreme quantiles for very, very large data sets. It makes it particularly useful for calculating quantiles, again, with the streaming data set. So the advantage to this approach is that as more data is collected, it automatically adapts the data set to recalculate the quantiles on the fly, and it can adjust over time. So you can clear out the quantiles over time. Every so hour, you can sort of expire the previous ones and add new ones in. So it self-corrects over time. It's higher during July, for example, temperatures. It can also self-correct. Then the winter will go down and things like that. It's all based exactly on the data that it collects only. So based on what the data that comes in, it's a self-learning algorithm. So as the sensor comes in, this is more an example again of the code that would actually do this. So you could get a threshold, you could predefine a threshold, like what is the quantile I'm concerned about, right? 95th, 98th, something like that. What do I consider from a quantile perspective to be an alert threshold? And you can set that with using a configured value. And also have an alert topic to say, okay, when I get these events, I want to route them to this particular thing for action. Then you just basically, every time a sensor comes in, this is just very generic, but you get the digest and you add the metric. Say, boom, add this metric, add it, recompute it. And then you quickly say, okay, what's my quantile for this element I just added to the list? If it's above the threshold, if it's 98th percentile, boom, send an alert. If not, just ignore it. And the next element comes in and it starts to learn. So as it gets more and more data into the data structure, it calculates that quantile for you and knows very accuracy. So here I got it within, 3% accuracy, and that's just 100 bits. So it's a very, very small data structure. And you can take this and deploy it on any sensor. I don't need to know anything about the sensor. I just know that this will work because the data feeds it and learns itself. So you can tell me nothing about that sensor. I can deploy this, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to be good enough, to get you off the ground as far as this is an anomalous event. So let's walk through a particular use case for, again, at a high level. It's for an IoT analytics pipeline, rolling all these together in a realistic use case. Now I've laid out the foundation for this. So let's look at identifying real-time energy consumption patterns. So when I worked for as a consultant in my former life, we had to do identifying real-time energy consumption patterns for a large energy producer in Southern California. And they had all these different smart meters. So all the different things was, they want to identify consumption patterns quickly. Because every 1% of overconsumption is like millions of dollars lost. And if they have underconsumption, they can have rolling blackouts, which in Southern California or places like Las Vegas where it gets really hot is a really, really bad scenario. So their goal is they're economically incented to tune it in, very, very precisely, but not overproduce energy. So they have all these grids of smart meters, and you have to figure out how we're going to actually, predict and energy, detect demand dynamically, decrease demand dynamically. You also want to implement, notifications of customers or, to use less energy during peak demand periods. Sometimes that's if you have your smart, thermostats that will turn it down automatically for you. You can send you something to turn it down. They can also provide real-time revenue forecasts based on how much your energy consumption is. So the senior leaders know, hey, this is how much money we're getting in because this is how much has come off the grid. And lastly, you can sort of identify faulty meters or sort of fraud things in real time. You can schedule, real-time maintenance as well. So at a high level, this is how the data flow would work through this particular thing. You have your smart meters at one end. All these different ones are different pulsar functions that we would use to do different features along the way. And then the blue ones are more of your traditional non-analytic ones, and the pink ones, the bright red ones are more of the ones I covered about probabilistic analytics and those things as well. But you can put them together so if there's something bad, you can immediately say, okay, there's something coming off this data, it's bad, and you send it to this topic that's going to do the number of occurrences of bad events, right? And you're going to keep counting those by sensor ID. So I have the smart meter ID. If I have a bad, I can't decode the thing, it goes in as a +1 into my bad occurrences on that. But if I am able to parse that data and come out, then I actually have real, human consumable data now, or machine consumable data at least. I have a serial number at the time that the reading, the sensor was taken, the voltage reading as well. Then I can validate that as well. So next you want to take it and say, okay, is this a valid meter reading, right? Do I have a negative number? Is this thing outside of the normal ranges? Things like that. Or do I have fraud going on, that sort of thing? To validate, well, if it's invalid, again, you can route it back and say, this is also potential for a bad meter. I want to go out there and start adding these counts. The top K of these are going to be the ones I'm going to go out and look at. So the trucks have to go look at. Assuming the meter reading is valid, and it continues flowing down the pipeline, next thing you want to do is do some enrichment. So now I have the serial ID. You can do a quick lookup based on where that serial ID is. I know where it is, roughly, theoretically what customer type it is and nothing else. As we'll see. So I know this is, here in Las Vegas, I want to know if it's a casino. I want to know if it's an individual house. I want to know exactly what part of the valley it is, what part of the grid it's on. All that can be done by serial ID. You can quickly just add that data to the data and move it onto the pipeline. Now we have the enriched data coming out, so now we have some additional data. We have a location ID, and we have a company, particular customer ID in that. We can do two things at once. So here you can publish it to output topics. This is one example we're doing it. So first we're going to do customer segmentation because we're preparing for anomaly detection. Right, so anomaly detection, the memory consumption for the Flamingo is much different than my house here in Henderson. There's going to be a lot different size consumption patterns, so we're just going to pre-segment it by, in this case it's real naive, but you could do some more complex machine learning stuff with customer segmentation. Here I just decided to break it to small, medium, and large to make it sort of a little more consumable at this point. And then at the bottom we're going to do the rolling window. So we take this energy consumption, we have the voltage, we go ahead and add the voltage in, and we do a rolling window on those past 10 minutes. We can do all the different sensors come in. For this particular aggregate, I can say this is the voltage used across all these sensors in a 5-minute window, have that value and publish it down to the real-time dashboard as well. They're off so following the customer segmentation track, right? So previously we made it to small, medium, or large just to regroup. And then we send it to 3 different distinct copies of the same anomaly detection one I covered earlier, right? Because they have different quantile calculations based on your customer profile. But underneath that, the code is exactly the same. So I can deploy that code and have it do the exact same thing. It takes that meter reading, puts it into a particular segment, does a quantile for that. If it's an anomalous detection or anomalous event, then it can also be alerted as well based on their customer segmentation and where you belong on that. And then lastly, again, now following the path down from the rolling window, I can do a top K users by location, so that's why I added location earlier. I can say, okay, this particular grid segment or this particular transmitter base, these are the top K users, and then I can react to those as well. So again, you can turn down their smart sensor, their smart, thermostats, or you can send them alerts and say, hey, you're using too much energy, things like that. So that was the end of the flow on that. So just to do some summary and review. IoT analytics is an extremely complex problem, right? It's a problem introduced that modern streaming platforms are not well suited for. Apache Pulsar provides a platform for implementing these distributed analytics using the IoT gateway. One of our advantages being able to distribute out to the edge. We can do some sort of distributed probabilistic analytics. So again, this is the secret sauce of this one. Probabilistic analytics, which is a unique analytics techniques, and doing edge deployment to do it in a distributed manner. So those are the two key values that Apache Pulsar Functions brings to that. It allows you to do all that analytics on the edge using approximate values with an acceptable degree of accuracy to allow you to tune in what you want to do. And both techniques allow you to act on the data while the business value is still high. Again, it's measured close to the source, then a calculation close to the source. You're very close when it occurred in real time, you can react to it in real time, rather than landing it to your data lake and doing some processing and getting into it in a couple, even like 5-10 minutes later, it might be too late. So, glad to hear people like Apache Pulsar. If you want some more information on that, I'm going to do the shameless plug, my book, Pulsar in Action. There's an ApacheCon discount code. If you want to buy it while here, it's like a 40%, I believe. Obviously, like all Apache projects, we have the documentation. We have some tutorials for the company I work on as well, Streamlio, on some of our blogs. And then we have a public Slack as well. We got about 1,000 members, I think, now finally on there as well. So there's constantly people will answer your questions, come on and do that sort of thing. And then lastly, questions. But to break the ice, I have one free book code, so I'll ask the question first. There's the right answer, gets a free book code for my book. So where did Apache Pulsar start? Where does it originate from? Yeah, who was first? I saw you first, so you get it. Yeah, most people don't get that. All right, now your turn to ask me questions. It's coming after the coffee. Yes, sir.
So do you run a whole Pulsar stack on each IoT gateway, or do you distribute it out across like multiple gateways that might be on-prem or something like that?
So you would on the previous talk, for example, doing the containers, you do just a broker. You just need the broker to do the processing in memory. Okay. And so it would be just a simple, very in-memory topic configuration running on each individual IoT gateway, and then you can funnel it into a topic on you can do topic to topic copy on downstream, and you do some more analytics there later on. But you can do all the analytics would be in its own little version of that JVM. It's just a single JVM process running a JVM Pulsar function.
Oh, and it's stateless.
Yeah. Jerry, you come up and ask a question too, so as well.
You got it. Okay.
I got my coworker here. Keep me straight. So yes, sir.
Which is the component where data comes into that Pulsar system?
So you intercept at the IoT gateway level. So whether you're pointing on MQTT or whether you're pointing over the sensor coming in, you do that in that particular place. So whoever bridges your application code into the broker, that would be additional code right there as well.
So I'm thinking of a PLC4X application that sort of pumps data into.
Yep. So like Edge, you mentioned Edge earlier, that'd be something you could use deploy in there as well. Or something does, like you mentioned, NiFi connector does MQTT. Like that, I wrote like a NiFi connector for Pulsar as well. So if you ran like a MiniFi thing to bridge that gap, or you just wrote a native plugin that did MQTT. We're adding an MQTT to our proxy as well. So we could actually co-host that as well and listen to the native MQTT right into Pulsar directly as well. Great, yeah, that's a great question. First month. Yes, sir. Yeah, so the question is, can I compare and contrast Pulsar functions to Kafka streams or K streams? Not to start a religious war on that. I think the Pulsar functions, so they're executed per event, and they're deployed separately, so there's no library required, there's no external SDK required necessarily to use them, and they execute on a per event when the data comes in. So at your own, think of it as a consumer on the topic. Your code gets executed automatically in place, and then it can publish out to multiple topics. With Kafka streams, you're doing sort of a distributed processing framework that has its own library that you have to do K-stream, and then you do tables. There's concepts around joining and aggregation to more of a fluid level. So it's built more for a different use case in that particular case. And I think Jerry wants to add a little bit. He's one of the
No,
members of Pulsar
I'm
Functions.
obviously a little bit more biased in this sense since I kind of developed Pulsar Functions. I'm one of the creators. So we kind of took a look at K-streams. K-streams definitely was mentioned earlier. We kind of like used our experience, and a couple of us we used to work with a lot of other string processing engines. I'm also on the Snow see it as well. But what K-strings and Pulsar Functions are the area they're trying to get at is lightweight compute. Right? They're not doing anything very deep pipelines or anything like that. But when you're doing lightweight compute, why do you need the API to be so complicated like K-strings? Why do you need an API that's basically a functional API that people have to use? Right? If I'm going to do something like that, I'm going to go do that on Flink. I'm going to go do that on Snowflake. When you're doing lightweight compute, what you really need is input and output. That's something that anybody, a programmer that doesn't even have any experience in string processing does. So that's why we decided to have a really simple API for Pulsar Functions, which is just a function, as you can see. You have input and you have output. It's all typed. So we have both in the schema registry. It's all typed. And the user just has to write the business logic for the code, and that's it. And Pulsar Functions also takes care of the framework of running the function. In K-strings, you have to kind of orchestrate yourself, run a Kubernetes, run a satellite process. Here, Pulsar Function, you submit to a cluster. Then the cluster runs it in, there's several modes, cluster mode on Kubernetes, or whether that's a thread, and kind of this IoT setting, the different modes and flexibility and everything like that. So what we really learned from kind of K-strings and talking with customers about K-strings, of how to kind of like improve the use case and make it more user friendly for the lightweight compute. And also just to kind of validate our hypothesis around that. A lot of people come to our chat, 1,000 people now. They want to move over to Pulsar, right? They ask, oh, do you guys have something like K-strings? And we said, yeah, we have something that's better like Pulsar Functions. We would also ask, well, do you need like this high level functionality of flat maps, groups, and that's like no, like we like Pulsar Functions. It's just simple enough. That's simple, right? That's way better than what they had their experience. Sorry, it was a little long. Again, very biased opinion here.
So that's okay. Yeah, another point Gary mentioned is like, so you can have a CS grad 101 come out and Pulsar Functions. It's harder to get people to K-strings because of the complex logic. They have Scala, they got a flat map, they got or Spark streaming or Flink. It's a very complex, specialized skill set. It's hard to run board for these things. CS guy, CS graduate 101 can do right? They did that for 4 years in CS, and they went to any sort of school. They did it right now.
And that's just Java. Python functions is even simpler. It's literally just like a function. Like in Java, you have that class and all that. So if you want to get a syntax, and Python is just that processing.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Can you come here to open this?
Sounds like you want to take that one as well.
No, you got it. I did.
I'm not that familiar with those. I'm not. I don't know. Compared to that, or reference to that. So, any other questions? All right. Thank you very much. Or forget who's this. Yes. Pleasure. Great. Thank you. I didn't do a bad job.
So I finished for the
What's the next thing?
Yeah,
That's
I mean, the next one is in 1 hour.
Trying to use that
After 1 hour.
Okay, so like the next one.
Speaking of
Oh, yeah, it's here.
bad.
But it's 1 hour.
Yeah, because I have to
I go back and try.
grab and after this finish, so I can finish the night like
Yeah, and I wanted to actually get together with you guys because I really want us to have kind of like this demo end to end.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, either way, we can do it now, later, tomorrow.
You can go and print some copies.
I brought you 2 copies. No, at that point, I guess it's okay.
Yeah. Well, I gave you all the adapters I had. And you left them in your room.
I was surprised. I wanted
But yeah, all the excess ones I had.
Now I know. Now I have the name. You see it 4:30 or no?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I kind of
orchestrating
I never have it. It's better to throw. I'm just
Oh, okay.
for everybody.
All right, take care. I gotta ask you about the internet. It's like, we're gonna have a desk here. So the J side, Carol.
Excited to see it.
I'm sorry.
They're basically taking
Wish I knew what but I had a chapter in my book. Where are you going? Here, I'm looking at this. Company's out of power. All right, sounds good. Thank you. Have a good conference.
By the way, ApacheCon
I'll be there.
3:15.
Which,
Vice versa.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Look forward to it. Thank you.
I'm Alex, Dave. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
We've talked a few times in the Pulsar chat.
Yeah.
So I was just curious, like, I mentioned that, so you guys don't, so the idea, like, don't run a bookkeeper, like, where are you running a bookkeeper?
You would, on the edge, you would not run a bookkeeper. You'd have a distributed storage, you have HTTP address, but in reality, for these, you want to do an in-memory.
So your state isn't necessarily persistent, I was just curious.
Insert, if you wanted to do stateful, you could
Okay.
do that, but it's going to be an in-memory of that particular function. You could run a broker, but you'd have to have an HTTP connection, since IoT Gateway has
Right.
HTTP. You could, in theory,
Directly to the book, you have to have a book to the
if you want to have state.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we were, this is like totally unrelated to what we're just talking about, which is great. I'm very interested, and I have a few coworkers that I'll share that code with too, because they seem want to see it. So, they're under it. But we were just working with you on that, the Kinesis thing, the Kinesis thing, or my coworker John. But we haven't been able to work. Did you guys, like, where, like, we get it started, but it just never reads the license thing. I was curious, to mostly work in local run? I'm curious.
So what happens, I had the open source one, and then we moved it to our own proprietary stuff to get it to working out. So the better code is over there.
Okay.
So the code that got merged in is probably shit. I'm gonna go back and figure
Okay.
out what I did wrong. Because I remember testing, we had some issues with that, and it didn't make it into
Okay.
that branch, is probably what happened. So I'll see
Okay.
what the difference is.
Cool. Well, we'll, because I just have my,
Definitely know, go back and.
we added some stuff so that you can have,
This is my SLA, this is my
just like a couple default, the credential chain plugins and things, so you can still compare your chain, as well as a student role one. So we added that, and we're like going to test it. It was like, oh, it's never a big event. So, okay, that's good to know. I'll like forward you to that. Maybe phone them. you know.
Exactly. Lots of
Well, I didn't know you're based out of here. I'm up in Utah. Okay. So I don't know. Yeah, we've talked a few times. But yeah, so nice to meet you in person.
Likewise.
My family's actually, or my parents live here. So it's like, unless you guys are all distributed, I think.
No, we're all over.
Is this,
Jerry.
yeah, what does he go by? What's his Slack handle? Is that?
Jerry.
Okay. I don't know if I've talked to him. Is, or, Mateo, or who's here from you guys? Just,
Just us and 3 people coming over. 2 people coming over from our stream data team that we used to work with. CJ, and then Jay, and then there's somebody who's coming over.
There are some nuances but usually that's
oh yeah.
Also bird with the other.
Yeah, I saw that. I'll try and see if I can make that. Since I have that's the kind of the problem is like I brought my family with me and it's kind of. But yeah, no, but yeah, we'll have to, so we're just getting to where we're most everything pretty close before we roll around construction. So it's nice. We got geo-replication working 2 days ago. Yeah, no, that would be great. That would actually be. We'll open an issue or something, and if we get a chance to look at it, or yeah, sure. Because we were like,
yeah, I remember. I think I put it on executor thread. I didn't assign any polls or start the executor. So something really stupid like that. It's like I have to have 2 threads.
You can also, I think,
I forget, or maybe that's an FTP.
you can also figure out something like that.
Are you just mostly working on integration? Is that mostly a lot of what you're kind of doing right there?
You can also get
For right now, I'm just trying to get
but all 3
Well,
people to
it's
pay
like,
for support.
oh yeah. Are you guys just all VC funded right now, or is it kind of one round? Okay. Well, we'll
So then again, you can also just
we're not using.
exactly.
I mean, how's because you guys launched the offering? How's that gone? Has it gone? You getting a decent amount of? Mostly for us right now, it's like about some compliance stuff and like geo-replication. Because I don't think you guys do geo-replication on
We can, but that's for
Well, mostly we're using it for more like DR stuff anyway, but that's just kind of it's summer compliance stuff since there's not really a great backup.
I thought they were still active.
Which I don't know. That's one of those things that I was like talking to Mateo about. Yeah, and I think there's another tip that somebody's kind of working on around like a snapshot. You know, some way of saying like, hey, don't create any new zookeeper segments. You don't create any new segments for a little bit, so I can run get some function that I can interject here and make a snapshot with zookeeper, and at least do a disk snapshot or whatever with my bookkeeper. So you know you can get a consistent snapshot. So that right now our answer for some of that is like, well, we'll just do geo-replication and jump replicate so everything will be backed up, and then just that serves a lot of our backup needs now. We just kind of need to figure out what we're going to do for sort of the we have like customer contracts that say like, hey, we can do whatever this one type of programs. Mostly now, all that's left is to say, oh, somebody dropped a topic, how do we restore a topic? Well, that's kind of what we are sort of need to figure out, but we're comfortable enough where we are.
So what is your best?
Some way of making that dotted line.
more than just the best effort.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny thing because it's kind of like those things don't apply quite as much, you know, to like a streaming event store database, but it's kind of hard to have that nuance when you're trying to like, explain business about like, hey, like we're using this thing, it's gonna happen, it's not better. It's like, hey, like what about this compliance thing? It's like,
that feature,
yeah, does it apply? I don't know, but
that's very.
It's a lot hard to get those sort of compliance things with distributed systems and cloud
exactly,
and
yeah.
replication and links.
Well,
You can't, you know, it's like,
But, yeah, nice talk too. Yeah. I'm actually.
yes, sir. Hey, Andy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Glad to see you out there.
Good to see you guys. Still gotta get you guys to take my connectors into your code.
So I was just looking at the PR for that.
Oh, where you? Yeah, 4914. Not that I don't remember the number. You want the? Let me get you the book code.
Oh, yeah, appreciate that. So I
I'm
know,
just gonna have to copy the First one.
Okay.
It's all lowercase. So like pulsar in action, CR,
So that's definitely,
and these are uppercase. 1D,
iron out all.
dash 1D, If it doesn't work, they told me it works. That's quite early. Yeah.
I gotta be honest, like,
So I would
within
imagine
our
that
team,
would also have
Pretty good to do because you're insulated team. You guys got to stay in DC most of where you were. You delivered.
yeah, well, and that's, I mean, I think as things are moving forward.
Schema store,
We're seeing not only
data is
from
actually
revenue and
stored,
contracts, but also distribution.
stored.
That's been consistent.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so yeah, so we get some leeway. We also priorities change. This
It's stored.
90%.
There's a lot of.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you know, it's good to be out here, talk to people, especially like, you know, it's never everybody here for deep patch stuff, right? Have those conversations.
Yeah, for sure. That was Joe, and then I haven't talked to him in a while. So I'm at DataWorks, I think, in May in DC.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's good. Yeah, team stuff. So we got people overseas, but also, you know,
Either we have.
yeah,
It's great. Yeah, I love Knife Fight. I see you guys still doing good.
yeah. We had through pulse kind of slides too. I was like, those are no processor builds here. But that was something
Sorry. It's okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he's going for hardware. I saw his speech before. He's all hardware. So it's like, I get that. And he's doing that E project, which is interesting. I mean, that's actually a very cool concept. Yeah, the first mile is the hardest one.
Well, that's what my talk is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you doing it here?
Yeah, I'm at 4:30 or whatever it is.
Okay, it was a break.
Yeah.
So long. Yeah. Yeah, the hardest mile. Yeah, that's the next great platform. The PT, the Zigbee, the Blue, all the different
What you
protocols.
can do
I
is
when I did this one at ELC, I had a slide that I put up literally right before the talk. So all we can see is
So.
hardware. Look at our cloud. There's nothing between. We're the thing between it. That's what we're here for.
How do you get from here to here?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like he was saying, everything's on Windows, back in the PLC world, all this Windows 95.
I know.
Man.
But they say you can't do that. It's got to be completely segmented right off. What else between the software and upgrades or updates because
Then you get the security aspect.
yeah.
That's a hard problem to solve. Everybody's just avoiding it.
Yeah.
They really are. It's like, I don't know, kick that can down the road. Kubernetes cloud, that didn't solve it.
It's amazing how many things you see where it's like, you know, some script obfuscated that
That's one of
it's the
the.
cyber attack
That's
approach.
something.
Yeah,
that-
And that's the one you saw because they didn't even realize what was happening. Trying to get out of it. How many smart people think actually have
Just got everything. Put in their software, and then on a certain day, they're just going to blow shit up in your network. You don't even know. So, yeah. Cool. I'll probably swing by and see that.
All right, awesome. Look forward to seeing you. Are you coming to the speaker thing after that?
Yeah, I'll move with the speaker thing as well.
Great. So grab a drink and talk.
Oh, yeah. Sure, man. Good seeing you
Good to
again.
see you. Take care.
Yep.
So I just did one question. So is that already available? Is it already available or is it something?
Yep. I'm giving a call on Thursday about it. And I'll actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's,
it's slightly easier.
So yours.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's been obviously improvements on there since now, but that is available. You can just run a scan.
So the result for the application, let's say if I have some identity, some data as a topic, and I need to run some SQL. So first is do I need to transfer it to Presto cluster or Presto automatically reads from the
So Presto does not have a storage, Presto is just completely. So that's why it's based on Presto and also because also already has. Okay. So as I was discussing that, you know, talk on Thursday, it's like a lot of architectures you jump from, you know, maybe Kafka to like HMS, Kafka to like Storm, and you know, HDFS that, so then you have star coordinate or key coordinate. You don't really need to do all of that if you're using Pulsar, because Pulsar has a storage layer that can do it in store. And then now we have Presto that goes directly to the storage layer to basically load that data. And because it is a segment-based architecture, the segments are spread across multiple nodes, we'll be able to basically exploit this parallel. No, it's its own custom storage. But in the future, the backend, yeah, we basically wrote a connector for Presto to be able to read the data from it. In the future, we're thinking about using Parquet because for obvious reasons, how they're calling it for format. We also have tiered storage, which we basically write to the capacity. So we're thinking about using a tiered storage setting. We might be able to, we can probably offload that data and talk to them on that.
Because right now it's Rubix, right? I mean,
Right now it's Rubix.
So you would do the transformation on like some worker or Parquet.
Optional. Yeah, if you wanted it. If you wanted it, because then you can put it back into.
Well, doesn't
high-
it
So
push down stuff, right?
you would definitely be able to, increase our compression efficiency.
Well, and maybe like push down.
Yeah, that's.
Rate running.
Sorry. Oh, currently, when we talk about Pulsar SQL, it works with Presto. It's basically still not how Presto is also
You can, so yeah, but you can query Presto via Spark, but the execution is going to happen as a via, yeah. I mean, it's not going to use Spark's execution engine, right? You're going to have Pulsar, you're going to have Presto workers pulling it out. Pulling the results. It's not going to actually use Spark.
So the data is distributed across, basically it's let's say 6 months of data, but I want to query only the data for the month of March. So is there kind of any presence of an index or something?
So that's good you say that. Actually, out because of the way data is organized on BuzzFeed, it's actually indexed by publisher. So basically, we have a built-in pushdown based on publisher. So when you execute the Presto query to say, publish not between X and Y, we would only fetch the data between X and Y. We're not fetching all the data and filtering it out.
And if the message or if the message has some other dimension, it's not a published tag, it's part of a message itself. So is there any way by which any index kind of thing will be added to improve the performance or something?
So that's something we're looking to work on. But currently, we only index in the future where different ways to visualize the data.
Support SQL or tier storage, right? That was before, is now really query.
There's now been like two or 3, I don't know.
Because I thought it would only go from Bookkeeper, or would it only go from like initially? Anyway, but will it go from tiered storage and Bookkeeper now? Because for a while it didn't, right?
SQL, the query will go across tiered storage.
Well, yeah.
Oh, you mean the sequel?
Yeah, the sequel.
Oh, and yeah, and in the beginning,
It would only go from Bookkeeper.
it would only go for bookkeeper. Now I don't have to fix it.
Okay.
Actually, also be able to.
It doesn't work.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
assistant.
Yeah, I'm Matt.
You.
Yeah, I've been. Nice to meet you. I don't know if we've interacted as much, but nice to meet you. So.
I think that. Yeah.
Slack stalker, he knows this.
Yeah, I follow people and I say like, what are you working on? How can I get you to do the thing I need?
It's very difficult.
There's plenty of people that message me directly. It's like, oh.
No answer, you do it yourself.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll take the
But from the what we are seeing, the society is really actually from the future perspective, we are looking into the top 10%. Right now, we are actually inclined to a person, but at the same time, given Kafka is used since long time, we also need to get our operation team to say yes. That
Hey, they should like it because operationally, that's the thing that actually when we were making our decision is operationally, especially with offloading. Well, we have a lot of use cases where we have long-term retention needs,
exactly.
and doing that on top of Kafka is just bone chillingly scary to me. So there's definitely some, our big thing of like, we use Flink as our stream processing Flink heavy. And so the big thing, like, the missing ingredient for us, and I actually like want to like, is there's like idea with, I want to be able to do the same segmented, parallel segmented reads that Presto uses, but to do it externally, because there's still that metadata, like the missing API for fetching into your storage what like the segments are in a nice structured way, so that you can pull that into, like
so
you
you
pull
want-
that into Flink, right? And so I can do it into Flink.
Oh, I see. So you want a batch reading API. And,
Yeah. It's based off the bookkeeper and
Yeah.
but I'm referring to closed segments, right? So like older data that's all done off, because then I can use like a system like Flink where I want to do like a big batch for the read, I can just read directly in parallel. And
So currently in the API, we've seen that there's a producer API, there's a consumer API, there's a reader API. Those APIs have batching, but they're more optimized for latency, right? And basically kind of reducing area have that for latency. I think what Madison is really referring to is basically the latency is not as important in terms of batching. You're more interested in so it's basically optimized Presto and Presto to do these basically hash reads. And in the future, there has been actually a lot of talk to basically, standardize on some sort of hash API that basically do what we've already done and Presto is this API and then you can actually just look at actual Presto and just so talk about that. It's just work yet to be done.
Right, and I think CJ's been working on that a lot, right? Like it's kind of like I think CJ, I think like they were talking about doing that with the Flink thing. He gave a talk at Flink Board 6 months ago. Yeah, I'm gonna go bug. Well, it's one of the things that we're interested in helping contribute to, right?
Yeah, so
Like,
we're actually
we're trying to
making
figure
that. Right now, there's not custom code, not standard code, implemented in terms of schema serialization. And now we're kind of cleaning that up, moving basically also one of the issues is because it schema code was not as performant as some of the other code that was written with the custom method, but now we're kind of pushing those features out into the regular schema code. So once we've done that and use the performance, putting some special for that, in schema, then we'll basically have all the schema for all the serialization code and custom method, but actually just using the schema code. And then from there, it'll be a lot easier for us to just kind of take action, code out and make it into some sort of action.
And would that be with batch treats? Would you still shove them through the broker? Because right now the Presto read string are from S3, right? So would you?
No,
You're
so
externalizing.
that defeats the point of
Right.
doing any of that. So that's the reader API currently. You can it goes through the broker, right? You can read for
Right.
any point, but the point of the batch read is to only go fetch the metadata from the broker, right? And then from there, I would go directly to the broker.
So you wouldn't try and make a proxy or anything in front of you?
Exactly. I mean, there are security implications.
Right.
Doing that, and,
Right.
because you're bypassing all this. So, but you will get a lot more, performance or.
Yeah, really.
So the publish timing which you mentioned, like the Presto would have this index. Do we already have a Java API if I have to basically rewind the consumer or read a new message to the consumer to start from a particular day or time?
Yes, that's the reader API. Actually, someone's just added for the reader, so that you can start out.
At a particular time.
At least I know. I think that was a new feature actually added. But at least you can rewind to a message.
Message ID, I'm sure. I know that. I've seen that. I'm not sure of the timing.
Yeah, so I did see a pull request recently. It's not that difficult. How because it's sorted, we just go back and search for the message ID and basically all
So message ID is sorted. Publish time is sorted.
But the message ID is a incomplete thing, right? It's just so.
Oh, message ID is
it's a monotonically incrementing. So the message ID consists of a ledger ID and an entry ID. Electro ID is a signal. A lot. It's just an entry, not set.
I didn't use that. I thought it's just a great. I didn't use it.
Yeah, it's important because it actually your message ID gives the location where that's actually stored.
Thanks.
Yeah, very much. Well, are you if you're not joining the Pulsar Slack channel, is there any more questions?
I'm there in, but right now, as I said, we're just in the evaluation phase.
Sure. If you even have any questions,
Sure.
Okay.
Oh,
I work
on this stuff. You guys talk about
Thanks.
which version you're using.
Oh, yeah.
No, cool. I don't know if I'll these birds. Are you gonna be at that birds and feathers thing? I don't know.
That's the only.
I'm not sure which version we're using.
Yeah.
I'll probably
But yeah, cool.
He's taking over my talk, I think.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
anything else that I
That's top.
was trying to.
So what's the use case you're using?
So we I work with a company called so I call it listing.
Okay.
So after we get some storage.
So it's an equal stream.
Yes, I work for.
Non-corporate here, man. I'll just Apache here. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So
I'm very glad.
this is Jerry.
Which company do you work? Uber. Oh, okay.
Are you guys starting to look at those?
I think so. I'm not quite sure.
So I know you guys
You
are very
should.
heavy
You
coffee
should.
shop, right? So
You should. You
Yeah.
should check
We
out
should,
Alpha
yes.
and do Pulsar.
But we have two parts, like ATC and on this part. They are totally unique on us. So our solution that we are sharing.
So to be honest, half the talks I've been on, attended, like basically talks about problems and attack process. Like, how do you handle this problem? And which attack process is going to happen. So
not having to like rebalancing.
exactly. Those are classes where like, well, how do I increase the performance? How do I maybe do some sort of pseudo multi-dependency, or how do I do this without something without killing myself?
We did some have a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that. We also have some in-house executing tooling system, sharing, but we merge in these. So there's no more sharing. It's not very but we inherit.
Yeah.
We have screen everything. Have the But it's good. Awesome.
There's alternatives out there.
That's all you
That's
gotta do.
the thing. It's a different.
I mean, that's also.
But with development, obviously, Yahoo solved different problems that Kafka still has. People still
Well,
have,
like
but
it's the thing. Like I don't know.
so
So
Kafka's definitely the dominant.
I've
player.
been
Everybody
doing
wants to
Flink
use
for
it.
like
You have to
2 years,
make
2.5
case
years,
to
right?
not
Most people
use
like
it
they
all
had
those
Kafka already,
things.
and then they started using Flink. Whereas for us, it's kind of the inverse. It's like we started
Like
with
you said,
Flink
where we
stuff,
go
and it's like, man, we really
Kafka
and we're able
how to
to
solve this
pretty
problem.
heavily. It's just like Kinesis just doesn't work well. I mean,
I was
in
gonna call it
general.
wasn't Uber or somebody else. Maybe it was Uber.
It's not anymore.
The guys gonna talk.
Yeah, that's why I said it never like
And they're
really
doing
was.
checkpoint
Like they have good
data.
storage.
Like,
Actually.
machines companies doing this
I was
stuff.
talking like
And one of
they
the
do like
slides I
it's
took a
source
picture
testing.
was like, you know,
Their biggest
be careful with your Kafka brokers that fall over. Why don't you just use Pulsar?
Baking
If
and
you look at the
sharp
chart,
things like second in and out.
It's
Because it just
also-
makes
but
ordering and
it's-
scale
yeah,
impossible,
it's,
right? Like, and that's our biggest problem with it is that like when all you
We do.
have is
I know.
a megabyte write.
They have the mirror maker, use a smart, I think
Anything
that's a
with a
client that
reasonable
does the
size
organization
stream.
of the cover.
I mean, that's also an issue with.
And it's set up so, my former life, I worked for a Portworx, which also distributed Kafka, and that's kind of
Yeah,
what I did
it's
in
well,
services,
the
was to
funny
set
thing
up all
about
these,
Kinesis with it is
you know, when I
there's
have
even worse.
active active
The only way
clusters,
you can
Kafka
order
geo
your
replicate
Kinesis
is
is if you write one that is
never,
and then you give
always
it
out of
the, and you give it the,
never
no
work.
seriously,
Zookeeper
and you give it the,
doesn't
because it gives you a
stretch that
sequence ID back basically.
Yeah.
You have to provide the sequence ID with the next one, so you have to like, you have to
We
write and
use
then get it, and then get the response
Zookeeper,
back
but we
and
don't
send
hit it
the
that
ID
hard,
back.
so we keep our offsets in cursors in a separate ledger.
Oh,
So we
okay.
only really keep metadata that are very as far as
If you're using Kinesis and
We created a new distributed log, and we also have metadata for that. It starts from here, goes to there, but it's very, very light. For scalability, so we can have 2.8 million topics. We can have
So
hundreds
this
of
is
millions
so
of
this is the
messages.
thing, right? Is it like
It's not
this
a
is like the
simple
big gap that exists right now? Is that like
Something we
so everybody's
build out
trying
this
to talk
software
towards
person.
that, but then like
Ledgers for your
nobody doesn't
offsets.
have the answer. It is lacking in terms of its ability
No.
to do
There's no really,
uh,
so it's a very, very,
any
few people
sort
like
of
can't get away from
long-term
it,
retention,
but it's
right?
very.
And then like
super
Flink, like
light.
that's exactly what everybody's
Scalability
looking for.
there
Is
is
like,
never the issue.
I want the way to sort of have like unified
That's in
storage
the
layer, right?
store. So
Backfilling.
they rewrote.
Big
some of
backfilling
that.
reads that are streamish, right? I can deal with some reordering
There you go.
on my read
Yeah.
side
You're
because I've got
talking-
Flink and Flink state storage really good, right? But and then transition over. So we like wrote our own thing that we'll do on top of Kinesis, where we'll read, we'll archive data to S3, and then we'll read it out of S3, and then keep track of our cursor offset, and then all the same Flink job will then transition over. Which is really pretty magical, but it's so much of BS that like we shouldn't like at this point. And then I don't know how many of you guys look at Vega, like what the Vega guys are doing. Like conceptually a really great model, but like it's still MCU and open source. You know, it's like kind of just waiting for.
I don't exactly know what they're doing because they seem to be showing and
Yeah,
look there and
yeah.
barely hear like that what is that guy's name that used to work with Bookkeeper? That guy. He was one of the original authors of Bookkeeper.
Yeah.
They looked at Bookkeeper and probably wrote it. You see him talk like maybe on Microsoft Research here and there, but like it's really
So- Yeah, so like when they first started, though, there was a ton of excitement, at least in the Flink community, because it's like the exact promise of like they got the marketing right to say to get
Yeah,
people
marketing was
excited.
spot on.
Yeah, so nobody's actually touched it. Whereas Pulsar's like, no, this actually has like a pedigree of real software that is being used in large companies. But like the challenge is for you guys as a smaller startup company is to like get that message out to the broader part of the community. I mean, like I work for Instructure. Yeah, so
you guys are using Pulsar?
yeah, so we're like not in production yet. We're pretty close. We'll be production by the end of the year, and it'll be at a relatively small scale, but.
What do you guys are planning?
Yeah, like it's happening. The question of like how its adoption happens is mostly now on my team to sort of get some of the integration bits going, right? Like we also need like a Lambda connector so that we can call our existing Lambdas, which is really easy to do with the Pulsar function. Right? Like it's easy to like a Lambda, just basically a Lambda sync, so I can just say, oh, like you wanna have this be like Lambda?
Oh.
Like okay, you configure your Pulsar function and you tell me your Lambda arm to call and then a role to assume, and we'll take care of that. That is just for like integration stuff. Same thing with Kinesis. We don't really care too much about a Kinesis sync, Kinesis source, which we're talking. Well, not. I'm being nice. I'm trying.
No.
Oh, it's good.
And
and then- but like, so that's like for us, is just to kind of manage that. Well, and like honestly, at my company, we use Kinesis heavily, but we only use it in the form of Lambda because the Kinesis consumer library, like the way to pull out Kinesis is just too painful, right? Like KCL's a big giant model Java library you got to pull in, or you have C++ it's super gross. Whereas like you can say, hey, like this helps out, right? Like, so we have a lot of people, like everybody really likes the model. It's now just like building up an ecosystem around it internally so that the adoption happens. Basically.
You okay with being recorded?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's been happening.
Yeah, I've already talked there.
This is in California. It's not two-party consent.
Is that a rule in California?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and that must be why they're always like making you sign like
Yeah, or if you do like Hangouts now, I think they actually prompt you if you're going to go record something. It'll
Oh, really?
say like get consent from everybody on the call.
Interesting.
But
Like in California, always ruin that everything. for everybody.
there's still a lot of stuff.
We're supposed to make revenge porn. We got to get consent.
That I really want to get moved out of.
But this presentation will be quite tamer than that. So
And then revenge porn. Well, that's good. It's a step in the right direction, I suppose. Let's see. That's some dumb IBM shit I don't care about. Link. Very nice. Glad no one stole my computer. That was very considerate of them.
Yeah, it's expensive, but
Let's see.
I mean, like even
Everything still seems to be working.
we just have some.
yeah, is there a particular so
We need some state.
I mean, there's no mic, but like don't stray from the podium. It's pretty.
So you are- wait.
This is the edge?
Hold up. Because there's a bit of a delay. Scooch this way. Yeah. Wait. I got another way. You are now in range. You are
Okay.
you are at the edge of the limit, and if you go over that way,
This is still in.
you know what the podium that is, but like if you went to the other side of the podium, you'd be out.
Okay.
But even so, as long as you put your voice, it should pick up.
Gotcha.
Let's see.
Hey dude, hi. I'm from Colorado too.
Oh, hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How you doing?
And I was working the past with André Araújo from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. With André, with Martin.
Yeah.
All the guys.
There's Kubernetes things to be done.
That's great.
So you guys based here or?
No, we based in Latin America.
Oh, okay. Colombia, Costa Rica.
All the place. Because I am SA for all the place.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I think last year I was supposed to go down to Colombia. It didn't end up going on that trip, but yeah. So I'm going to Seoul and Tokyo, Lithuania in November.
Oh, great.
But I know there's some people making moves on contracts for this in Latin America. So I talked to
Telefonica?
Telefonica. Andre. I talked to Andre a bit. Yeah.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting for very emotional.
Yeah.
Maybe like the studying, they have CBA and to just like I'm part of the IC team for that.
Okay.
I visited Chile, but yeah, I have been like doing Enola and Brazil as well.
Working Latin is a wide world.
How big is the team down there? Like, I'm thinking, what, 15 people?
15 people
For the continent?
For sales?
For
No,
sale.
for engineering side.
No.
Oh, really? No, we are only, for IC, maybe we are only 8.
Oh, wow.
And the SA only.
Actually, we call Jesus.
So this is a little bit of work, a little bit of vacation, huh?
Yeah, that's it. Gotcha.
You understood very fast.
Oh, man.
Yes.
That's brutal. So they got you guys really covered a lot.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I was very interested in Minify.
That's what we're talking about.
Exactly. And in collaborate too, because I was coding in C++ too.
Oh, okay.
In the past, and I like to. I got the source from GitHub, and I told you if a guy, but I forgot the name.
So
That
Aldrin or Mark, probably?
That he stay at Chile in a moment, but I don't remember the name of the guy.
Okay, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. So the people who work exclusively on Minify,
2 people.
maybe 5.
5, yeah.
Aldrin, Mark, Kevin Duran does some back and forth.
I think it can.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I think,
Yeah, so Kevin and I went to college. We've been friends for like
Oh,
12 years. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Nice. And I really like to collaborate because I try to make a transition same as Andre.
No, we're always looking for more people to
Yeah.
to put code in there, and especially I find like the thing that helps me understand what we actually need to prioritize and build is when I go talk to the customers, right? And a lot of engineers don't do that. We sit
That's
in
it,
the
and-
office and don't ever talk to them.
And it's
Behind
the
the door.
difference for us because we work a lot with customers in the office things, and we understand that the customers really need
Right.
to put on this stuff for them.
And that's why I think like the contributions you can make are really valuable because it's not just change the thread performance by 1% in the background. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that's valuable, but that's not what makes
Exactly.
somebody.
And because-
business.
Because we know the real life
Yeah.
of customers. So
Yeah, but yeah, it's on the sales part. Like I said, a lot of interest in data.
I remember that I saw an internal presentation about Minify 2, and one of the problems is integrate with embedded solutions. Why?
So like OPC, PLC4X, and things like that.
But you have development for these or?
So now it's definitely better because the Minify C++ flavor is a lot stronger than it was at the time. So
And it makes more sense for this word.
exactly, yeah, they are already running these sensors and actuators and stuff that are on C-based systems. They're not going to add JVM to that just to run it.
Exactly.
Even you can buy a Raspberry Pi. And
Yeah. That's what I have in the presentation.
Yeah.
Disagree.
And what the guy to talk internally about this feature? Because it's interesting a
Could
lot
have been anyway.
because
Maybe Tim Span.
Team of Span.
Yeah.
But Team of Span is not developers.
No, he's a solutions engineer. So he works with customers. Yeah. But he does write a lot of. He doesn't write a lot of the core code. He writes a lot of like interesting integration processors. So processor to do facial recognition with machine learning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He doesn't put it back into Minify core. He just puts it in his own repository. So you can build it if you want. Same as like the guy who David Grunbard who just presented. He used to be at Hortonworks as well. And he wrote Pulsar processors for NiFi, but it never got merged into core NiFi because he's the only one who knows how to use Pulsar, right? So we can't verify, we can't maintain it. So he keeps an independent repository. You can build it.
I try to gauge, for example, some drivers from my new to the embedded project for operating system for embedded device.
I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a idea to got some code and share some code to more teams.
Absolutely. I think so. The way we're moving right now is that because the distribution is so big, like NiFi 1.9 is like 1.6 gigs, right? People never have a use case where they need all of those different things, right? You're not integrating with Hive and HBase and S3 in the same thing, right? So we're moving to use NiFi registry, which does the flow versioning, to also be an extension registry. So remember, like when you download Ubuntu, right? You go, I'm running a web server or I'm running my own computer, right? Do I need a
I'm running embedded.
Exactly. And so you can pick which. So you download core, the kernel, right? And then just the packages that were relevant to what you were doing and save a gigabyte. So that's what we're going to be moving to is having the NiFi registry host all the extension NARs and automatically enable you. Okay, now I need to work with Hive. I click a button, I get the Hive NAR downloaded.
Yeah.
But I don't have to get that at the beginning.
Right.
But that's in the NiFi part.
That's in the NiFi part. So there will be a like basically hidden from view on the CDF side, but especially if you're doing something CDP, like right there, the customer doesn't really care.
So now what does with the apps? Like I want the app for doing this, like I don't know, deal with CSV.
Yeah.
So I download anything and put that people. So we decrease the footprint and that markup.
Exactly, makes your life more easy.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. So that's where I think there will be even more of a community around people who contribute a processor that handles Pulsar or handles something else, and it doesn't have to go into the core project. So it's easier to have somebody who's familiar with it review that and bring it in to the extension part, right? And you can share that with everybody. If you're a company, you could stand up your own extension registry and monetize that and say, you sign our license or you pay us X amount of dollars and you get to download this as well, right? So I think we'll see that from some of the integration points, like Pulsar, they want everybody to be using it, but there'll be other places where maybe somebody has a better OPC way configured, and they know, okay, you can use the open source one, or you can pay us and get this one to be certified, right?
And with the advent of RISC-V too.
Yeah.
Something for like RISC-V.
Well,
And prefer to use the first mile with clients? because the last mile is with AI, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first mile. I like the title.
I was doing this one, I think, even before we merged, but it was really funny because I was talking to Dave a second ago, and he's like, yeah, I'm just having some problem with the first mile, like getting stuff off. I was like, come back in an hour, all right?
But the last mile is hard
Hey,
for us.
the first 90% takes 90%. The last 10% takes 90%.
Yeah,
That's
makes sense.
Are you guys here for the whole week?
Yeah, because I'm a committer for another project.
Oh, okay.
For Marvin AI, it's things like a framework for deploy machine learning
Okay. Well, then,
models and this.
so I am going to be really eager to hear your feedback then. I'll show you the slides of that. So some of the stuff.
And because of this, I got 1 week of vacation.
Yeah, so these at the end with the Minify C2 stuff, the CEM. So this processor, it's one of these, but it's running a machine learning model at the edge.
Great.
So this is literally running.
Using
build the flow,
Pico.
Yeah, and then deploy the Pickle or PMML onto a Raspberry Pi or whatever.
In the edge.
Yeah, and have it run at the edge. So you get the low latency decision making of the model running embedded hardware, connected vehicle, whatever.
Oh, this is
But
great.
you can still, so you can make immediate decisions and still send all the data back and train the model in the data center.
I mean model, yeah. It's pretty similar to the federated learning.
It is in the sense that you have distributed system and the core system. The difference with the federated learning is that, like, if the three of us each run our own instance, you're learning mostly from you, but also getting a little bit of our benefit, right? You're learning mostly from you, but a little bit of ours. With this one, each one of those cars, let's say it's cars, right? 200 cars, they all have a model running at the edge. They're all executing the version of or snapshot of the model on each car, right? They're all sending data back. So my canonical source of truth model that's getting trained for all the information,
N for N.
yeah, will be the best.
It's not 1 for N.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that model will be the best, and I'll always be improving that model from all of the input. But I can push different versions of the model out, so I can do like A/B test and say,
Right.
50 cars get version
Okay,
10,
then-
50 cars get version 11.
And then control that group
Exactly.
and check the, monitor the drift of the model.
Exactly.
Awesome.
See that? See, make the difference. We really need a strategy about this deploy of machine learning models and all of this thing because we have a lack of this for the customers, and the customers have made this requirement a lot for us.
Yeah. Hold on. So I want to make a group here so that we can chat and keep in touch on this stuff for the week and then even in the future.
Sure.
Campos.
Yeah. And Alan Silva. That's it. Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And try to sharing and because I was really interested in development for because I think for the market the main product that you make for the get to get has great value.
Yeah. I think it's the piece that connects a lot of different pieces.
Yes.
And everybody has a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you guys after.
Okay.
Have a good presentation.
And thanks. No, right now. Yes.
Okay. This is the third screen. I just make sure this working.
Oh, I appreciate it.
And I wish I had shut all these candles off. This one I shut the candles off.
Okay.
That darkens the room. Do you want?
Actually, as long as the camera's okay, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Do you like how it is?
Yeah,
That's fine.
Okay, I just shut the sconces off because they are usually eye grabbers.
Uh-huh.
And that darkened it a little. I just want to make sure it didn't affect you.
No, as long as I'll put the slides back on.
Yeah, I do. I've been having varying degrees of success throughout the day. Did you change something from how it was earlier?
Just now.
Well, okay. The problem is when you make it too dark, it tricks it, and then it like makes this too
Does it
bright, and
blow
then we
out?
can't see anything.
So this one's a pretty dark slide. How's that look?
Wait a second. It's passable.
Okay, and then
Let's
the
try
rest of them
this
are gonna
though.
be it's
Go
gonna be
back
more
to-
like this color scheme or
Going back to that dark one. That's without the candles.
That works good too.